Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Wakelet podcast. I'm Tisha Poncio, digital learning specialist at Wakelet, and my podcast is Women in EdTech. And today I have two of the most inspirational women in EdTech joining me to share a little bit with you. Today I have Jenallee with me. I got chills when I said that, you guys. I feel like I'm fangirling a little bit. So you guys introduce yourselves. Tell me who you are, maybe your title, but I also really want to know a little bit about your stories. How did you come together? How long have you been a team? Maybe some funny things that people don't know about your team.
Hey, all right. Well, my name is Jeni Long.
And I'm Sallee Clark. And we are Jenallee.
We are actually instructional technologists with Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District, which is a little bit north of Fort Worth, Texas. So we're here in Texas with you. So we're super excited about that. We're neighbors, although we don't really get to see you except for at
not
conferences.
Enough. You know, I've had a couple get-together dinners, but we need more.
It's so interesting because I think people that are going to watch this maybe think of, Jenallee and Tisha being in Texas together, which means that we are just like a hop, skip, and a jump away from each other. And the truth is, it would take us hours to get to each other. I feel like I would have to plan a day, right? I mean, even just halfway point is very far from me. Texas is huge, but we have had some get-togethers. How long have you been a team, and how did you meet each other? How did this Jenallee thing even come about?
Well, this is our going into our 6th year working together, and together we just share the same passions, and we both came in at the same time and just kind of clicked immediately, and just kind of had a vision for what we wanted to do together and in this role. And it was kind of not a new position, but it was just our boss had kind of taken a different role. And so we kind of came in and said, we want to make this position, fun and get in classrooms and work with teachers. And so we've been able to do that. And I'll let you tell the story of how our name came to be.
Well, I just also want to add on to that and say that Cindy, before we came into this role, it kind of was like wide open. And I just love that she gave us the freedom to design it and do what we felt was most impactful. So that was a really cool opportunity for us. Our names kind of came together because, back in the day, Brangelina, all the different actors and actresses, everybody would combine their names. And Ricky, one of our coworkers, kept calling us Jenallee, and we'd come up with like all kinds of funny names together. Like when he and I would work together, it was Slicky, Sallee and Ricky. I mean, we came up with all kinds of goofy names. And so we just kept saying Jenallee, and it just stuck. And so everywhere we went, we just started saying, hey, we're Jenallee, and started introducing ourselves and we having fun with it.
We started a YouTube show almost 4 years ago, and just really going in classrooms and kind of interviewing teachers or interviewing students and doing tech tips. And so that kind of, I remember our very first video, we went to a high school English classroom, and we were helping her with adding audio to her Canvas assignments. And so we just kind of did this high five thing, and we would involve the person, and then it just kind of morphed. And so we've just had a lot of fun and branched out from there. And now we do consulting and speaking and blogging and some other things that I'm sure we'll talk about.
Some other things. I know. I feel like I've known you both for a really long time. I remember being at Region 11, I believe it was years ago, seeing the two of you. So in my head, it's always been Jenallee, but that was a long time ago. I mean, when you think about it, it's been 18 months or more since I've seen the two of you in person at a conference, right? So 6 years together. Wow. Are you Facebook official yet?
I don't know if we've actually had a friend post yet for our friend anniversary.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, it feels like we've just always been we clicked immediately, and people, even after the first year, they would be like, how long have y'all worked together? And we're like, 1 year. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Y'all just go together so well.
Yeah.
And
I see that you do. And honestly, the whole time I've been on here with you, the minute that you introduced yourselves as Jenallee, I still have chills because I just feel like you have this incredible energy. It just comes through, even through Zoom. I know people who have met you in person, they feel the exact same way. I kind of fangirl over you guys too, and you are my friends. Okay. So we are coming up on conference season. I can't believe it. By the time this episode airs, we will have gone to TCCA in Houston in person, together presenting and working with educators there. I cannot believe it. It's my first in-person conference since TCEA 2020.
Us too, right?
Oh, we had FETC and then BET. Or did we do BET and then FE? I can remember the order, but that was the busy season.
Oh,
we
yeah,
had FETC, BET, and TCA that year. So
that was it.
Well, so being world travelers and conference goers, what is your best travel or conference tip for our listeners? What is like, there are TikTok hacks out there, which always make me laugh because they're really not hacks. It's just a different generation that's found their way. But what tips do you have for traveling, for going to conferences? What's your favorite tip for the listeners?
Well, I think if you're flying, I sleep on the plane, so that's not a problem. But
I can't sleep on the plane.
She doesn't sleep at all. So I just sleep and then I'm there and it's good. But I think I just love when I'm at conferences, I just love networking and just taking selfies. That's my favorite part because then I think you even said it before, like, I always have a selfie of all of us at some point, so it's like, just making sure we have those memories and capturing those memories with people and we're relationship people. And I think that's almost I get more out of that than in sessions sometimes, just connecting with people and reaching out. And, it is a family. I mean, our friends and the Wakelet community and the Flipgrid community and the Microsoft community. I mean, those people are people we can count on at any time. And it's just nice to always have those connections. And that's my biggest takeaway and excitement. And although I love the learning piece, but taking selfies.
Yes. Well, and I would say too about Jeni is she's not shy about talking to people either. Like, I think that's super important. Like it's almost like we don't want to talk to people when we walk by or, we see something, but we don't just reach out. She's really good about just saying, hey, and like talking to them and grabbing them and just starting a conversation and connecting with them. And I think that's so important, especially at conferences. People want to talk, want to connect and want to learn from each other. And so it's a great spot just to jump out there and say hi to someone you don't know.
What would you say to the people that maybe are afraid to approach the two of you? Maybe they are like me and fangirling. They see you across the room from afar and they're afraid to come talk to you. What do you say to these people?
Don't be afraid. Sallee might bite, but
not really. I might hug you. I mean, like, I am a hugger, so I might hug you, but
come and say, we're not afraid, and we'll give you a sticker. No.
Yeah, I like that. Yes, stickers are great. That's the other tip, right? Get all the stickers. And I will say, after TCA 2020, one of my biggest regrets was that I didn't get more selfies, Jeni, with everybody that I loved. I mean, I was trying to go back and find some selfies from people that I really thought I had taken pictures with. And I didn't have any pictures. All I had were the pictures in my mind, which is also great. But I'm like you, I want to have the selfie so I can go back and look at it.
I would say too that just we don't view ourselves as anything other than educators. And more than that, we are goofy people who I'm a mess. Everything's everywhere. I lose everything. But I'll have fun and, swap ideas with you and communicate. And Jeni's really organized and we'll have everything in order for us, so we'll be okay. But we love talking to people, and so come talk to us. We want to meet you.
I love that. So we'll be okay. It's true. I have shared this with some of your fangirls out there who want to know how are Jenallee? Are they really as great as they are on camera? And I say yes. And I don't know if that's a Texas thing from all of us, where really what you see with us on camera at conferences, I mean, that's really who we are. We're the same, right? If we were having some of that really good guacamole with bacon.
That'd be great.
That would be great right now.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to make you pick a favorite because I know that's really hard, but I need to know, what is your favorite and most powerful app smash? Like something that you've seen in action that really levels the playing field of student engagement. Words. I know, the student engagement and just student success overall.
I think if you know us and you see our tweets, you see our TikToks, Our two favorite apps are number one, OneNote. No question.
Where's our cakes?
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's over there. Looks on the chair. Number one is OneNote, but the app smash that we think is incredible is OneNote and Teams. And so Microsoft Teams, we used it during remote and during our hybrid season. And it with OneNote is incredible. I'll let you tell why.
Well, in OneNote, you can embed practically anything. And we love embedding third-party apps. And, we can put Wakelet in there. And we love the integration into Teams with Wakelet and Canva and Bunsy and Flipgrid. Everything just embeds so nicely into OneNote, and you can share it out. And I think that's one thing and not everyone is Microsoft, and we understand that. But it just is one thing that sets Microsoft apart, because there really is no comparison to OneNote. And we love OneNote. I mean, I've been using OneNote for 15 years. I mean, it's just amazing. We use it on our phone.
Incredible.
And everything. Yeah.
15 years, Jeni.
She's the OneNote queen.
Probably longer than that. But
longer than that. Oh my goodness. That's a whole podcast in itself. That's awesome.
And I also think that I think that's what Microsoft does well too, is they are incorporating so many other applications. They, pride themselves on working with tons of different people. And I think that makes education better. Like, it's so much better when we are all working together and using the best pieces of all the different things around us and making something great.
I love that. That's a great quote. Hopefully whoever's listening will quote you and tweet that out.
Oh, we do.
We had our Better Together shirts on.
Better Together.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I agree. I honestly, I am so I just admire both of you. I always think to myself, I really need them to coach me more in Microsoft, which is interesting because I started off teaching adult learning classes using Microsoft. And so my journey has gone Microsoft, Google, and now I'm moving back into the Microsoft space. But Microsoft really, they have it together, you guys.
They do. I know.
They do. Okay. So I talk a lot to people in general, like on an everyday basis, but also on the podcast about, people's perceptions, and they only see the tip of the iceberg. And so I want to know for both of you individually, what's below the iceberg that people may not know or see?
Personally, I have 4 children. And so I'm extremely busy, and when I come to work, it's kind of like that breath of fresh air, and I just love being with people, and I love being in classrooms. Like, I would rather just walk around a campus and walk through the halls and just see people and see kids and see teachers, and see those smiles, and then when I go home, it's like, just constantly running to football, running to volleyball, and, just running all around. And I know you completely can understand that as well, but it's just, and Selena and I both are lifelong learners, and so it's this balance between mom, wife, worker, and lifelong learner too. Like, you have to learn, and especially in our field, it's this continual, everything changes like daily, like we can't even keep up. So it's like, we're constantly going, but we're always still learning, and at night we're sitting on our computers till midnight, just sitting there, reading blogs and reading books and just playing and creating.
This is why we are all friends. Jenny's like telling her below the iceberg, and I'm like, this sounds like my life too.
I know.
Well, Sallee, do you have anything different to add to that?
I mean, we pretty much are on the phone with each other all night. Like, our spouses are like, do you not spend all day together too? And then we're on the phone, like I'll have her on speakerphone and we're just still working.
Yeah.
And then my husband will even say, she's mine now. Okay.
No, I said, mine. When he calls during the day, I'm like, no, she's mine. This is work hours. She's mine.
Can't talk right now. It's work hours. No, I would say the same thing. We're huge nerds. And we love diving in and learning. Like, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're reading blogs, and that's fun to us. But then I think the other thing is what's also fun to us is sharing what we learn. Because we know we have to see it a few times in a few different ways before we even get it. And so it's so nice to also throw things out there and help teachers. Maybe it'll, they'll view it in a different way that they're like, oh, that makes sense. Or maybe it's the second time they see it and it's, adding to their knowledge, before they actually get it. So
Do you feel like you are repeating yourself with the same things all the time? Like, I know, I will share about Wakelet and I'll think I've talked about portfolios for students like a billion times. How has like somebody didn't see it, but that's true. Like I'll put it on Instagram and somebody new saw it, or I'll put it on TikTok and somebody new saw it. So do you often feel like you're a broken record with some of the things you're sharing and teaching?
She just said this. We were meeting with someone earlier and she said, we really say it takes 3 times. Like, and we have seen this in a training that we were at. The same lady sat in the training 3 times. And then by the 3rd meeting, she actually did what it was we were showing, but it's just sometimes people are distracted or their focus is on something else. And we have to remember that, like, yeah, I said it, but that doesn't mean that they got it, and then my big thing is communication. But I feel like we have to communicate in all those different modes. Just like you said, some people are on Instagram, some people are on Twitter, some people are just on Facebook, but we have to communicate through Remind, through texting, through email, through, s'mores and sending different things. There's just so many different ways to communicate. And I don't think that you can do just one of those because everyone has a different method they prefer. And you just have to kind of blast it out there. But
and I think, as being a former tech coach, we have to meet teachers where they are, right? Some teachers want us to sit beside them and walk them through and say, okay, click here now. Okay, that's good. No, I'm not going to click. You click. No, you click there. So you have to like walk them through, while other teachers are like, give me a 30-second rundown. I'm done. And so I think, when we share stuff, it is, that's why we even started our YouTube channel, because we'd go to one campus and one teacher would have a question. We'd go to the next campus. Teacher had the exact same question. And we're like, oh my goodness, if we had like a bank of things that we could start sharing in different ways, it would really help get the word out, because it takes a few times and in different ways.
I love it. Yeah. If you guys are watching and you're on TikTok, you should go follow Jenallee on TikTok. Okay. This is sort of, okay. I don't know. It's a fill in the blank question. It's so intriguing because I feel like you guys share brains. So the answer may be the same.
We do.
Okay.
We say we complete each other all the time.
Like Jerry Maguire. I love that.
Yes.
That's really, yeah. We're so retro. The people watching are going to be like super young educators and they're going to be like 15 years. Who's Jerry Maguire? Okay.
We'll make a TikTok. We got to bring it back.
Right. I know. Okay. Fill in the blank. Good tech integration is?
I would say good tech integration is seamless and just part of your everyday life. Like, I don't like when it's another thing, like it's that extra thing. Like, I think it should just be something that is part of just with us. We get our computer out, we use our phones, like technology should just be part of our everyday life. And I think kids do that at home, but then when they come to school, it's like, they just kind of power down and then they have to do things different. Like, let's continue how they learn and just stay on their level with learning and connection. And I don't think it should be like, okay, now we go to the technology, it should just be part of what we do on a natural basis.
I would also say same, like it needs to be seamless while also making learning accessible for all people. Just like we were saying, for teachers, we meet them where they are and provide what they need where they are. The same with our students. We want to use technology to meet them where they are and provide learning to them in the way that best fits them and that they need.
Yes. I want to stand up and applause because I think that's where I have always been. I mean, I used to say that back in 2005. See, now I'm really stretching our listeners. In 2005, when my students were on Facebook, and there was so much resistance back then to social media. And my first thought, and I was the only one at my school that was thinking this, was how can I leverage this crazy tool that they're always wanting to be on? How can I leverage that for their learning in my classroom? And of course, I always got pushback on that. Even most recently, I was letting my students create TikToks for educational purposes, right? And of course, there was some pushback on that, but I agree with you. I think it's seamless, and I think it doesn't need to be like the tech time, which is what it was in 2005. Let's go to technology class.
Well, and it still is in a lot of places too.
Yeah, yeah, true. Okay, here's a fun question. What show are you binging currently? Or what show should our listeners and watchers binge?
Well, I don't know if Sallee has the same answer, but I'm guessing she might.
I do. I already know I do.
I would say Ted Lasso.
Yes.
So
I knew you guys were going to say that.
She mentioned it to me a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I don't know, sports, and it's not really my thing. And so my son's playing football, and so I was like, I don't know, Jake, you want to watch this with me? It's about football or whatever. And so he sits down, and then he goes, Mom, this is not football, this is soccer. And so I was like, oh. And then it started, and I was like, okay, no, why don't you go somewhere else? This is probably not appropriate really for you. But it's so good. Like, their writing is so good and so funny. And I'm a little slow to catch jokes sometimes. So someone told us we should watch it with the captions on.
Yes.
And I think that's a great idea. I didn't do that, but I'm like, oh, that would be good for me.
Yes.
I need to and you can't, because they're speaking in, it's in the UK and, what's that? But.
Yes. I am so glad you said that, because while I was coming up with these questions, I was writing it out thinking, I wonder if they're going to say this, or if it's just my crazy mind, super obsessed with Ted Lasso, thinking everybody's going to say this.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, and the gifts are great right now too.
It's a great show. I think it's very timely. I think the show is so timely. I actually watched Jason Sudeikis on Saturday Night Live this weekend, and he said something like, it's about things that Americans hate, which is kindness. And it made me laugh a little bit, because I was like, when you get into the show, you're like, okay, like, he's really nice. Like, how can he be this nice? Right. But over the course of season 1 and 2, I don't know, Sallee, are you finished with season 2?
Oh, I have embarrassing things to say. So my husband's actually the one who got me to start watching it with him. But then I would fall asleep on the couch. So I've watched
that's reverse in my house.
Yeah. So I've watched half of it, and then I've caught pieces here and there. So I have to go back and binge myself.
We have to have another podcast just talking about the end of season 2, because I don't think you guys are prepared.
Well, my husband told me, and John told me last night, because we were talking about it. And I was like, I got to go back and watch. And he was like, just let me tell you what happens. I was like,
was it Lydia who posted that said she'd watched it 6 times?
Yes.
I thought there was a post from somebody that said they watched it 6 times to watch the writing and everything over and over.
It is. And I think I'm going to be in that camp. I'm going to start again and really study it. I also listened, if you listen to Brene Brown, Brett Goldstein is on the most recent podcast, and he was in Austin. And his answers to her questions totally blew my mind. I did not expect some of his answers. They just didn't match with the idea of him that I thought I had in my head. But I still am in love with him. I love him. So, okay. That's a great tip. I don't know. I really want to meet them. Could you guys imagine if we could meet them together?
So fun.
That would be amazing.
So fun. Okay. A concert that you'll never forget.
You may have been at the concert.
Well, we love the Spasmatics. So we saw the Spasmatics, almost 3 or 4 years ago?
Wait, can I tell the story?
Sure.
Okay, good. Jeni is a wooer. So have you done the Strength Finders test before?
Yes, but I do not remember all of the categories, but the wooer, I can see that. I've done it.
Yes.
I can see it.
And it's pretty cool because our strengths totally complement each other. So she's a wooer, she's positivity, a ranger.
Yeah.
What else? Communication and it's a positivity. What's the last one?
I feel like this could be me. I think Jeni and I might have similar personalities.
Yes. And then mine was ideation, empathy, connector, positivity, and strategic. Mm-hmm. She's got hers. She's pulling them up right now.
It was positivity, arranger, communication, achiever,
and woo. So she's a wooer. And so everyone we meet, she woos them into talking to us, or, loving it. I mean, she's just so, who could not love her though? For real, right? The first time you met her, you were like, I love this girl. It's true.
No, but then Sallee connects with you. I bring you in, allure you in, and then she connects.
She closes the deal.
So we were laughing because we go to the Spasmatics and it's so crazy full. But we see up by the stage these big open areas, and we were like, let's just
in Austin, right?
Yes. So we're like, let's just go up there. So we go up there and we get in these seats, and we're right front row. And this waitress comes by and she's like, oh, guys, this is the owner's box. But before she even like gets anything out of her mouth, she comes up and Jenny's like, oh my goodness, your hair, I love it. It is so cute. And like totally woos this girl. Like, oh my goodness, she's our best friend by the end of the night. Like, oh my goodness, like it's so great. Anyway, so she's like, I just want to let y'all know this is the VIP box for the owner, but he's not here. So y'all sit here.
I remember this.
Yes. And he was like, if he comes, we'll move you. We were like, okay. So then he shows up. She moves us to another VIP box.
VIP.
I was like, oh my goodness.
And then she brings us champagne that's sparkling, like $300
Were you with us?
I wasn't with you, but I remember being on the floor and I remember knowing you guys were up there. But see,
Claudio was with us.
Yes.
Was it Claudio with us that night?
I think he was not with us.
I think he was down also. Was he with you?
In the front.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was.
He got with us in the second VIP box.
I think people started seeing that you were in the VIP and then they started migrating
we
over.
Probably invited them. We were both like, come on, guys.
It's so funny because I think Jenny and I are so similar in that way. I have talked myself into some pretty incredible experiences in my life as well. And I was with you guys at one of my favorite concerts, which was also the Spasmatics TCA Austin 2020 when it snowed. Do you guys remember?
Yes.
And I remember thinking in that moment, Tisha, remember this moment. And I didn't know why. Like, it was sort of like I knew that something big was coming, but I just remember thinking, remember this moment because you are going to want to come back to this memory for a long time. And now I know why, right? I mean, that was my last live music concert also. I haven't been to another live music performance yet.
Girl.
But it is on my list, Jenny. Don't you worry.
Listen, but maybe that tops that was Maroon 5.
Oh,
that we went to about like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That was
great.
Well, that sort of leads us into my next question. What is your walk-up song for life? Now, if you have known me for any amount of time, I used to do this activity with my students and I would tell them, what is the one song that would you would have play automatically every time you entered the room for the rest of your life? And you have to pick one.
Ooh.
Can't be a playlist, has to be one song.
That's a hard one. Yeah, that's hard, especially when you don't know names of songs like me. They make fun of me all the time. They say I know no pop culture and I don't know lyrics, and it's bad.
It's really
well, what genre? What year? Maybe what decade?
These would be a TV theme song.
Oh, okay.
This is true. Moving on up.
Okay. I like it.
I think she knows all the TV theme
The
songs.
Jeffersons, Laverne and Shirley.
All of them.
That's actually very impressive, Jenny. And I did not know that about you.
Cindy and I, our boss, we sing them all day long. Like we know word for word. And I laugh at us all the time.
That's funny.
It's great.
It's great. I don't know.
This is Laverne and Shirley. What would yours be?
I don't know. Mine would definitely be some kind of pump up fun song, like I'm at a basketball game, like I Have the Tiger or something. Bum, bum, bum. When you see that, can you see me like dancing to it too as I walk in? I'm like, oh.
And running up the
stairs, like
Rocky.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah.
So at the next conference, TCA, I fully expect Jenny to be behind you with this song, like when you enter the room, so that you can really do this. The book came out yesterday. The book. Yay. Do you have the book? You don't have the book, but it's okay. Tell everybody the name of the book, where they can find it. And after that, tell me the most rewarding thing about writing a book and the most difficult thing.
I'm laughing because those are great questions. Like, I feel like you're in our head right now.
The title of the book is The Microsoft Teams Playbook, Your Guide to an Empowered Class. So the premise of the book is really talking about, so we talk about equaling the playing field so all students can have an accessible learning environment and an equitable learning environment. And Sallee and I both have children with dyslexia. And so that kind of is our platform for the push for accessibility. and really providing those opportunities for our students and making sure that teachers are aware of all of the tools that they can use. And then, well, there's 4 parts of the book. So the first part is like, kind of building relationships and kind of, laying down the groundwork for your classroom and just kind of making things relevant for them and how you can provide assessment for them, in this equitable, accessible environment.
No, go ahead.
The second part or more on that?
Second part? Oh, no.
Okay, we'll go through the parts.
That was good. The second part would be a Teams tour. I'm assuming that's where we're going. So a Teams tour, because there's lots of different LMSs out there that people are using. Our district does use Microsoft, and we have fully drank the Microsoft Kool-Aid. We love it. And so we kind of give you a quick tour of Microsoft Teams, so that way you can know some of the layout. But even if you don't use Teams, it's just a great reference anyway, because it's just best practices, right? Like, how do we have academic chat together in a space? Lots of LMSs have chat. So how do you have an academic chat? How do you foster collaboration within that space? Lots of places have collaboration. So, but we do give you a tour of Teams and some of the different aspects it has, and then best practices for using that in an in-person, remote, or hybrid situation. Because right now schools are just kind of all over. So it does give you a good best practices view of using an LMS.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it. It's like you guys are in my head. Like, we need this book, right? We need this book. And I love that you've kind of taken this personal spin on your own experiences as parents with your learners, because Jace is not dyslexic, but I have talked very openly about the struggles that he has as a childhood cancer survivor. And I got a sneak peek of your book, right? So I'm like, yes, between your book, Jake Miller's book, and Monica Burns' book, like, I want to take the 3 of them together and like bundle them together and drop them off at teachers' houses, because I think they're that powerful all together. You all have come up with some incredible ways for teachers to, make it happen in their classroom. I think that's what's great about you guys together. You are powerful at being patient with teachers, but giving them that just really honest, this is easy. It is attainable. I think a lot of teachers feel like it is unattainable. What do you want to finish up on that book and tell us maybe some of the app smashes that you talk about?
So the third part of the book is lessons. So we have over 70 different lessons in the book, whether they are actually in the book or with QR codes. So all throughout the book, you're going to see QR codes that go to our website that have additional lessons, or they might go to a Wakelet collection. We have Wakelets all throughout the book of curated content of how to connect with all the different companies and how to go to the Microsoft Educator Center and take courses about the different apps. And then we have, just articles or, just videos, all kinds of things.
All kinds of, we just tried to empower you with all the tools.
So we've included 9 different apps from, let's see if we can name them all. Canva, Wakelet, Buncee, Flipgrid, PowerPoint, Forms, Jenallee.
Did you say OneNote?
OneNote.
Mm-hmm. And then did you say, I don't have my cheat sheet with me.
One more.
Wakelet. Did you say Wakelet?
You said Wakelet.
Oh, man. Jenallee, Buncee, Forms, PowerPoint, OneNote, Canva, Adobe Spark.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
So
that's fire.
Yeah. So we talk about how to use all of those apps within Teams and just kind of different ways that you can, use those tools and create, some different lesson ideas and things with our students. So that's the exciting part, because, we've just given some actual examples of lessons we've done with our teachers and our students. And then, just we have, it's kind of a sports theme. So we have like a little high five area, and then we have a little coach's corner, and we have a scouting profile, different things thrown in there. And And then in the last section is really about continuing your learning and how you can get connected with these companies, how you can get involved, how you can become an ambassador, how you can, earn badges and just, continue your professional growth and learn more. So, and connect with others and build your PLN.
And as you were saying earlier, like having children of our own, like it really has driven our passion in technology because as our kids were going into middle school and high school, having learning struggles and trying to figure out like how can I make learning accessible and non-stigmatizing for them was super important. As they're going into these pre-AP classes and the teacher has to come over and read something to them, it's so embarrassing and hard. And then not only that, we want to empower them to be able to go into a grocery store, not know something and be able to scan it and get it read to them, or a picture of something so that way they get context to what's going on. And so, it turned into, we don't want it to be embarrassing to, oh my goodness, these tools are empowering, like not just for school, but for life. And so it's super important that we equip our kids and teach them how to use these tools.
I love it. You guys speak to my heart. Every time you talk about these tools, every time you talk about integration, every time you talk about student success, it really is. We do have the same values educationally. And I think that's why I've always been a fan of the two of you. Well, to wrap up, the last question I have is, where are you most happy? What is your most grateful moment where you're standing there just thinking, wow, how does it get better?
Only when we're together. When
we're together.
I love it.
I feel like it's so cliche, but it's so true.
Even, like we leave work and we call each other and we talk on the way home. And then I sit in my car in the driveway for another 10 minutes and then we talk. And then we go inside and I get my kids settled down and then we call each other.
Oh, I love this.
We love like our getaways. Like when we were writing the book, we would get away. We'd go to Austin or we'd go to Florida or we'd go. We went to a few other places, Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
We went to some fun little trips just to get away and hang out. We do love being with our families and we love being with our coworkers. But I laugh and we do. It sounds like we sound like a married couple. But we literally we just have fun together. And one thing too, kind of when she's talking about our strengths, we've had to learn to appreciate each other's strengths because we used to be jealous of each other's strengths. And when we did the strength finders, one of our leaders that was training us said, stop trying to be what you're not, right? Like focus on what you are and perfect that. Now, yes, we can work on those other things and try to be good at them, but stop trying to be something that will never really be your real strength. Like we then realized I'm the organized, structured, planner, where she's the creative designer, free thinking mind and create presentations and things in her sleep. So I let her do that stuff, which she's taught me a little and I'm learning.
She's done great.
I can sit there, I'm like, I want to make those pretty things and it'll take me 2 hours. And so, but she's taught me.
And she's taught me, she creates to-do lists for me. So I make sure.
But we've just embraced that. Like she knows I'll answer the emails. She knows I'll schedule the calendar and I know she'll create the TikToks and she'll make all the, the fun stuff. So then once we've done that, we've just kind of and I think it's a good lesson for a marriage, learning how to work together in a relationship is so important.
And I think valuing her strengths more than mine too. I value everything that she does because it is so good, but I also see how valuable it is to who she is and who we are together. It's super important that I see that and not before I would see it and be like, oh, I wish I could do that. Or I want to be involved in these communications. I got to know what's going on, but I would never read them. Or I would
email just to say you emailed. And then I'm like, stop emailing. I've already done it.
Yes, it's fine. Yes. And so once we let those walls fall down, we realized, oh my goodness, she has so much value in her strengths.
I love it. It's like a Ted Lasso episode, that last question.
Where's our believe button?
Exactly.
I know, yeah.
Right here.
Yes. Okay. So thank you guys for joining me. I honestly have had the best time with you. And I feel like it's just us talking over tacos or something, but I always learn something from the two of you when we're in their same space. Where can our listeners and watchers find you?
Well, you can find all of the places to connect with us at bit.ly/Jenallee. So it's bit.ly/Jenallee. So you do have to spell Jenallee correctly, but we do have a bit.ly that goes to all of our social platforms and, just more information about us. And we'll be continuing to build that as well. But definitely check us out on all those places. We'd love to connect with you all and learn from you, because that's how we grow too, is just by connecting and learning from our community. So we're super excited.
We're better together.
Yes,
well,
definitely.
Thank you both. Thank you so much. All of you listening and watching, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to follow Wakelet on all the social media platforms. And you can catch up on all the Wakelet podcasts at wakelet.com/@the-Wakelet podcast, and go back and watch all the previous episodes. We have some incredible guests. And of course, my guests are all the best. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.